Welcome to this week's Ask EMBN show. I'm joined by Henry from GMBN Tech. Massive knowledge of everything bike related, so it's going to be a hell of a show with Henry involved.
Billing.
We've got lots of questions coming up this week. We've got drivetrain, sizes, tyre choice, motors, you name it. It's in this week's show. So you got this question coming in from Holberg. He's saying, hi, Ask EMBN. I'm looking to buy a Focus, but the sizes seem very low. I'm 5'10", close to 6 foot. Should I really go for an XL frame?
Ooh, it's a difficult one. I'm 183 centimetres, which is pretty much 6 foot sort of on the nose. I'm just sneaking in the 6 foot club, got the skin of my teeth. You know, a lot of people try and kind of wrestle me onto XL bikes, and I'm just not interested.
No.
I think a lot of people, you know, Dode's a really good example. He's probably still finding bikes. He's getting more options year on year as bikes get bigger. And so he's probably, you know, someone his height.
He's what, 6'2",
6'2",
Yeah, he's pretty
or even taller. They're going through this journey of bikes just getting better and better. Look at someone like Greg Menard. Since top tubes have got longer, his results have got an upward trajectory.
Exactly, yeah.
So they kind of, I think the taller folk get a bit overexcited and they try and wrestle more the medium-sized folk onto
the bigger bikes.
Big bike. I really like larges. Sometimes people say, you could ride an extra large.
Yeah.
I don't really interested. I personally go off geometry charts, seat tube length, and reach.
That's the main things, isn't it?
That's my big thing for me.
I think on paper as well, I'm meant to be XL, but I personally ride large in all of my bikes as well, purely just because I've come from those smaller bikes, you know, like jump bikes and things like that, up to like a big full suspension bike. And I feel like when I get on an XL, I'm like, holy, this is feels like a 5-bar gate to me.
And I feel like so much of our sport is based on racers' preference.
Yeah.
Now, if I was riding a World Cup track, I would want really long.
Yeah.
You know, because you're just going warp speed everywhere.
Exactly.
But pooling around the trails here, sometimes, to be honest with you, I have a hard enough job getting around turns in any state of decorum anyway. Let alone an extra inch on the top tube. It'd be just like a bloody oil tanker.
But I think, definitely the best option for you would be to go along to a demo day and check out which size bike suits you best. We've done a video on exactly that.
So why then would you do a demo event in the first place? Well, the primary aim is actually to make sure you make the right decision of e-bike for you. It's also a good way to open your eyes to exactly what's on the market. After all, the market is overflowing with different brands. For example, Lapierre, Orange, Specialized, Cube, Canyon. There's so many bikes out there. It's not only just the bikes, it's also the model within the range as well. For example, this high bike, an Enduro 180mm travel, or the All Mountain 150mm travel. And it's not just the models, it's the component specs within that range as well. Plus, of course, there's that important thing about fit and sizing.
Right, next up, we got this one in from Steve Jones out in Wales. He's saying, who's this Henry bloke and why is he wearing his hat wrong? Who does he think he is? Justin Bieber?
I mean, it can't be the Steve. I mean, imagine there's more than 2 Steve Jones in Wales.
Nah.
You know what? I like the hat. When I wash my hair in the morning and I ride in and it goes into a massive, it's about this, looks like I've got static energy really kind of running through me.
Yeah.
Everything's in there. The jobs are good in.
How come you don't wear it the right way around?
Because it makes my already large and melon-esque head look even more so. I look like a Victorian train conductor with my, or an old-fashioned policeman. I'm just a whistle short of looking like an absolute pillock. So you're just going to have to put up with it, quite frankly, and we'll move swiftly on. So this is from Andre Ion1, I think his username is. And he says, hi guys, Andrew from Romania here, and I have a quick question for you. I have an eMTB high bike and I'm a regular rider. If I want to improve the riding efficiency on paved roads, is it enough to just pump the pressure in my knobby tyres or changing to road tyres to make a more significant difference? And if not, what is the recommended pressure for an MTB tyre? 80% of maximum pressure allowed? Many thanks. And P.S. he just goes on to say some lovely stuff about all the hard work you're doing on the channel.
Thank you very much. Nice to hear from you. Yeah, for sure. Obviously, a skinnier tyre will essentially roll better, but the shock that is going to come from those sort of using those skinnier tyres is going to be a lot more than you're going to be used to, especially if you're on, I'm guessing you're on a hardtail there, Andre, but I think on a full suspension bike, you could get away with like, I would be running your knobbly tyres with them increased in PSI to this maybe 40 PSI, and then you're still going to be able to use that bike. If it does come to an off-road situation, you can let a bit of pressure out, or if you're riding one day up in the mountains, one day on the pavement, thing is, if you stick slick tyres on skinny little tyres, it's pretty much writing off. You're basically converting that bike to kind of like a road bike, and it's quite limited in its use.
Yeah.
Do you agree? Or?
Yes, I would largely agree. I think width, in terms of rolling efficiency, width, there's a massive conversation going on about that on the road side of things anyway, and what that actually equates to in terms of rolling resistance. I think the resistance you're largely feeling on the road is what we were talking about with the stack of knobs on tyres and the height of them.
Yeah.
Because what's happening is they're not just rolling through, they're bending and they're warping and they're dragging. And as you're getting, say, drive from the rear wheel, it's actually flexing all of those, which in turn, drive you forward. And it's a lot of energy waste. Having the tyre harder will make a difference, but you can't make those knobs harder. So I'd say maybe keep the width, maybe go to a less aggressively treaded tyre. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's the same, and obviously compounded the tyre as well. If you're running like a soft compound, kind of like a proper off-road tyre, then it's going to be a lot more stickier and a lot more drag, especially on tarmac and things like that. So look at the compound and go from there, really.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so Ian Welshboy. A lot of action from Wales today. So an Ask EMBN. I have recently had a run of ripping my rear mech off the bike. First time a branch and the second time a rock hit it. Any ideas on how to avoid or reduce this happening?
Oh, well, I'll jump on this grenade.
Go on then.
So, the rear mech, yes, it is annoying. Yes, it is vulnerable.
Yeah.
Without, bogging and ruin everyone's day with a couple of hours of me complaining about what I think about how the bicycle industry hasn't come up with a solution for this problem yet. Yeah. I would put it like this. It would be like me saying, I keep getting flowers stuck in my radiator grill of my car.
Flowers?
How are you saying that? It's like, well, it's all these roundabouts. I go straight through and just charging over. Like, if you hit stuff, it's going to break. You can get guards. Often they're proprietary fit. And they're pretty flimsy. Lapierre used to make them, for instance. They are vulnerable. It's sadly a challenge of riding. It's like people that saying, oh, I keep snapping cranks. What do you do? I keep hitting them on rocks.
You need to look ahead and sort of plan your lines, don't you? All those little things where I've, like rock sort of pinch gaps where you've got to go slow. Or sometimes I even stop on the trail and just make sure I'm not going to, put my feet down, lift the bike over rather than just smashing through it and risking losing the mech.
Yeah, it's a problem. At the moment in the UK, everything's just grown so much, and you get real bad tunnel vision. And I've been dragging pedals in places where perhaps I normally wouldn't, just for lack of visibility. So I do really sympathise, but apart from us designing a better subsystem, there's not much we can do apart from just say, sorry, just try and be really careful.
Just make sure you've got a stack of replaceable hangers, I guess. That would be a good option.
Yeah, totally.
I think it tends to happen in runs as well. I think the kind of e-bike knows when you've stuck a new rear mech on and thinks, get rid of that one. It's happened to me quite a lot, actually.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty good bet. So now we have a question from G. Neeson, and they say, I have a Trek Power Flight 7. The tyres are 27.5, I think he means, times tubeless 8, tubeless ready, but I'm still using tubes. My problem is that when I have gotten a leak, it seems nearly impossible to get these tyres to release from the bead. I have to use a wooden parallel clamps and a thin plastic scraper. Wow, which I don't carry on the trails, obviously. I have a pretty strong grip, but I still can't budge them by hand. What can I do on the trail? And won't sealant make this potentially even harder?
Well, I think, for one, I think you definitely need to get the right tools for the job. So for removing stubborn tyres, I think a decent set of tyre levers is definitely a must. And that sometimes even the plastic ones can snap if the tyre's really tight. So like a set of metal tyre levers is going to be really good. Obviously, if you don't want them in your riding pack, but for in the workshop, I think metal tyre levers is a definite must.
Yeah, Park will make the ones that are actually enclosed by plastic as well. So
exactly, so they don't damage your rim, and you sort of clip them on. And it's definitely a technique I think you need to work on, of tiny little bite-sized chunks. If you try and pop too much of the tyre off it at once, it can be quite hard work. I think the thing for you would be to get those tyres off and just set them up tubeless, because then once you're set up with tubeless, and they're on and clipped in and everything, there isn't much chance you're going to get out punctures. So the need to remove those tyres, I don't think as much as regular tubes.
And what you're saying here about getting it to release from the bead, I don't know if you potentially mean just the initial snap.
The snap to get it into the middle,
in which case, having it, sometimes putting your foot on the bottom of the tyre, and like so, you can get a bit of, but it is a bit of a it's a bit of a bugger.
Sometimes snapping that initial bead is quite hard on quite a few tyres. Obviously, with a lot of tyres being tubeless ready now, they make that speed even tighter, so it can be a bit of a faff. Yeah, you definitely need some good initial purchase on that to crack the bead off.
I would say as well, the Trek Powerflies, they come with, a lot of Trek bikes doing a lot of bond charger wheels. They come with basically, it's reusable tubeless tape. There's like a carcass that just sits round.
Yeah.
It makes installation really hard. It makes removal really hard because it can't go into the middle well.
Right.
I would say just ditch that straight off, put normal tape on there, and you'll actually have more room to get it into the well and get a bit of slack.
Yeah. So I think get it set up tubeless, change those 3 parts that Henry mentioned, and carry some tyre levers, get the right tools for the job, maybe take it down to the bike shop to get it set up originally. You shouldn't run into any more problems, I think.
Now we have a question from Coach 2 Win. I like that. I like numbers and names.
That name?
Yeah, I've got, the attention span of a Jack Russell. So anything that gets me locked and loaded is really going to help. And he says, how does the trail mode on the Shimano E8000 work? Is the power output supposed to adjust to the terrain as you're riding?
Yep. So basically,
done. Next
question. No, the new update on the Shimano E8000 motor, it kind of makes it more like an automatic, kind of like the Bosch eMTB mode. So it detects things like the actual speed you'll go and the cadence that you're putting in and the torque that you're putting into the cranks as well. So basically it gets a reading from all of those. So if you're going like slow up a hill with high cadence, it kind of knows that you're climbing, so it's going to give you a lot of assist. Whereas if you're going downhill and you're pedaling slow cadence, but you've got high speed, it knows that it doesn't have to give you a lot of boost. So it's kind of like working out all those different inputs and making the most of it. Yeah, it's pretty good. All those different sensors going into overload.
No, that's impressive.
And that, unfortunately, is the last question on the Ask EMBN show today. Thanks a lot for joining me today, Henry.
My pleasure. It's been a good one.
It's been really good having you on the show. If you guys want to stick around, what videos can we check out?
Well, if you want to continue the theme of some cross-channel mashups, there's also that pretty cool video Steve did with the Global Triathlon Network.
Nice.
And triathlons get a bit of flack for all their weird and, wonderful aero gear, but they're big engines, actually.
Yeah, I can imagine.
They're powerful guys. See how he gets on.
And if you're looking into taking your first steps in flight, I've done a video on exactly that, your first steps in jumping, so check that one out. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the show today. Drop us some comments in the box below. And don't forget, if you've got a question, #AskEMBN, drop us in the comments box below. And we'll see you next week.
Cheers, guys.